Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. We're just letting lots of people in at the moment. If you are able to have your cameras on, that'd be great so we can see the smiles or the blue sky in the background. There you go. We're just letting some more people in. Welcome, everyone. We're actually still waiting for the main technical officer, Phil, to arrive because he's just having slight technical problems with his internet. So once he comes, we'll be able to make a start, but we didn't want to keep you in the waiting rooms. So welcome. Hope you're all having a good day. Hope you're managing to have done some movement and some activity or exercise. And bear with us.
What have you done now?
There we go. So if people want to mute themselves, in the bottom left-hand corner, there is a microphone image, and you just press on that. We can also mute everyone when we start. But we're just, as I say, waiting for Phil. There we go. I was muted there. Just keep letting people in. Fantastic. We've got lots of people here, which is wonderful to see. So many people that are interested in re-engaging in exercise, knowing or finding out what they can do better to thrive with their condition, and also to listen to some brilliant speakers today, those that are living with Parkinson's, and to really inspire us, as well as some exercise professionals that can give you some other information and an exercise session. So hopefully Phil is on his way soon.
Are you feeling inspired?
Feeling inspired. You're not on mute though. Not probably yet, but you will be. You will be.
Right. Sorry.
Don't worry, that's Robert and Kathy. Lovely to see you. If you're inspired by just my introduction.
I'm Kathy, and this is Rob, and Emily's the daughter. She's working at home today.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
And trying to fix our tech issues.
Everybody needs a support officer, a technical support officer. Yeah. If anybody wants to take themselves off mute and tell us what they've been up to so far today or this week, then absolutely feel free. You know, whilst we're waiting for Phil, we might as well celebrate everybody in the room and the fact you've come and you've shown up.
I'm just going to interrupt because I can see someone called Billy McEwen with his sun hat on in the sunshine. Hello. But I think halfway through those eyelids are
Billy.
going shut slowly.
Hi, Billy. Billy's one of our drummers.
Yay.
Hi, Billy. We have been drumming this morning. We're in the north. We're in the north of Scotland.
We saw the photos, Joe.
Yeah. Well, we what did we do then?
We were at a local community group and we were drumming for them, but we also stopped at 11 o'clock just so that we could watch our little video on Virtual Village Hall, which was quite nice.
Okay, I just...
Oh, go on.
So I've just let Phil in, so hopefully he will be here soon. There are lots of people though, so he might...
And I want to know, did anyone catch the Parky Charter and the sing-along? They were singing I Will Survive across the country. I think at 11 o'clock.
It was at 12. It was at 12 and I had people from my classes there, but I haven't been able to see it live anywhere. I had to check just before I came online.
Yeah.
So I haven't caught it. I mean, it might be on Instagram or on social media, but so far I haven't. I had a quick look at it before coming online. But there were people singing all around the country as well, I gather, in different groups.
Yeah, we had a couple go from Sheffield, and not a couple, more than a couple, but a few from Sheffield. So I just wondered if it had been on the news or something.
No, I didn't find it yet. I had a look earlier.
I think
Over to
Phil.
Phil.
Over to Phil.
This
I'll
is
admit
like on
people are-
radio, isn't it? When there's a bit of a silence. I'm going to say there's a gentleman called John Lynch who keeps disappearing under his camera. So, John, you need to keep your head where we can see you. Hello to Debbie.
I'll say hi,
There's Philip.
How you doing?
but it's not just me here. I'm calling from the cinema where it's Holly Grange House.
Oh,
So we're a
okay.
care home in Nuneaton. If I move
Oh,
my head, hopefully you'll see our 8 or 9 residents in the cinema.
wonderful.
And have we got Phil? Has
Oh, yeah,
Phil got
hello to
sound?
everyone.
Hi.
Phil, have you got sound?
Sorry, and a hello to John. I can see you properly now. I'm happy.
That's good.
It's like we're policing. I'm just going down the photos to look at everyone and see that I can see them.
I can't see Phil. Where are you, Phil?
He's there.
Oh.
So, to celebrate World Parkinson's Day, Parkinson's UK have been doing a whole series of workshops and things. It's all online. So this is the one about exercise,
Right.
which I was interested in.
Yeah, I've got little magazines about it. Bargain, mate.
Okay.
God, what's that?
Oh, hang on, then we're on. We're on the camera now.
Kate, we can hear you both. What's the gentleman's name that you're talking with?
So this is Julian,
Hello,
and
Julian.
I'm in a care home in Suffolk.
Yeah.
I don't know, Julian, do you want to be on the camera or would you rather not be on the camera?
Well, the camera might not want to be on me.
No, you look really smart.
Oh, thank you.
I see so much.
Well, you don't have to look scruffy in the care home, I suppose.
No.
Especially a
No.
posh one.
Hi all.
Would it be helpful?
Hello, everyone.
Anyone can hear me?
We can hear you, but who's that speaking so we can see you?
Yana.
I'm Shireen.
Yana.
I'm Shireen. Yana's mom.
Oh, we can see you now.
Ah, good. I can see you as well.
Yeah.
May I make a suggestion? May I make a suggestion? Since I have at least the first slide, we could go through that. And then, Chris, are you happy to start so we get going? Or not really?
It's a shame I can't get my own PowerPoint up. If I could get that up.
I have the PowerPoint, so I can. Should I bring it up for you? At least the start. Oh, here he is. Philip, are you with us?
At least we've got his screen so we can ask Phil to just forward on and we can just say next slide, can't
That's
we?
a good idea.
So can we go back to the beginning? And then Lydia, would you do the honors?
Yeah, I can't get the. Here we go. Phil, can you go back to the beginning? Yeah. So, who wants to do this? At least, well, since I'm started. So we are supposed to have done introduction and housekeeping. We have a lived experience panel who are Chris, Keith, and Patrick. They're all with us. I don't know if you can raise your hands or whether that helps. There's Chris. Then we will have the physical activity professionals with Anna, who's here definitely, Banu, me, and I thought there was somebody else as well. Then we've time to get active. We'll have a question and answer session wrap up and then taster session closes. Phil, have you got your housekeeping slide next, please?
Can
Can you see it all right? Do you want a bit closer?
Anu, can you hear us?
So I think the key thing, everybody, is could you please mute your microphones?
I've muted everyone, so it's just Lydia, if you unmute yourself, and I've muted everybody else.
So I think the key point is if everybody can keep themselves muted while others are speaking in the session. And if you have a question, type a message in the chat. So you should be able to find the chat button and then you type a message in the chat and we'll try and monitor that. And apparently if you lose the session, you can rejoin it by going back to your meeting invitation. And it seems that Phil will send a wrap-up email at the end that will have the recording of the session, useful links and resources that are mentioned during the day. So I'm going to stop now, and shall I hand over to who's next on the agenda? Chris, does that work?
Okay.
Phil, can you go on to the next slide?
So, good afternoon, everyone, on this wonderful day.
Oh, sorry.
It's not on yours. Maybe.
Can't hear you,
hear me
Chris.
now?
I clicked on mute by mistake. We need to ask you to unmute, Chris. Sorry, that was my fault.
I've unmuted. Can you hear me?
We could hear you, Chris.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Fantastic. So my name is Chris Stanley. I've been living with Parkinson's for 7 years. I had cancer twice when I was 29 and 31. And I thought things were great. But anyway, I'll give you a bit of the background. So I was 29, was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was treated but relapsed aged 31, had an autologous bone marrow transplant, but I was very fortunate to have 2 children against the odds. Life was very good, but then I had another fight on my hands. Having problems at the age of 53, I knew something wasn't right. And then I was diagnosed after 2 years of going to the doctor, etc., with Parkinson's. I think there's a link, but it doesn't matter because I'm alive and I can see my children growing up. If I didn't have the treatment for Hodgkin's, I wouldn't be here. So life has to go on. Next slide. So my activity involvement, I was incredibly fit before I was diagnosed. I've always had a good lifestyle. I was a PE teacher and head of house in a big secondary school. I did marathon running, I did half marathon running, etc. So now I try and run 5 times a week. It's probably less now, 2 to 4 miles, because I'm a lot slower at my running because I think it's degenerated a little bit. But I also do fit-in yoga, Bali, which is being put out through We Are Undefeatable, etc. I instruct Nordic walking to 2 groups and I've created a 3rd group. I walk and I paint. So I'm incredibly active every single day. And there's some of my paintings that I've done, which I've never done. I didn't know I could paint until 3 years ago. Next slide. This is a picture of me at an exhibition that I did, one with Bali and one with my husband's favourite picture of a painted ballerina. And the Rutland Half Marathon was the last half marathon I did with my wonderful sister, my daughter, and my married mate, who's my best friend, who still jogs with me, but it's more of a bimble than a run now. Next slide. Next slide. So I am an advocate for Parkinson's. Over the last few years, my life has been transformed. It has really been enriched by the people I've met, the physical activities I've got involved in, my painting, my performing, educate and public about PD, Parkinson's, and I am involved in a drama group called Parky Players. Some of you might have heard of it. We won a competition at the Fringe in Edinburgh just last summer, and it was a diversity award, which is quite a prestigious award. We've now got a wonderful little film out to show how we prepared for it and what we did. It was truly inspiring and it's fun. The performance we put on was fun with a serious undernote about Parkinson's and living with it. I've represented Great Britain at the World Parkinson's Congress opening ceremony in April 2023 in Barcelona with our winning song, The Road, and that was to over 2,000 people. We sang it. It was truly memorable, a wonderful experience. If you get the chance to go to the World Congress, do it. It transforms your life. I took part in just last year in the World Nordic Walking Championships in Finland. I was part of British Nordic Walking Research Programme, which I'll go into a little bit, but that was a significant confidence boosting activity. I thought I'd never do anything competitive again. I was the only one with Parkinson's that did the 10K race. I wasn't last, I wasn't first, but I was the only representative with Parkinson's in that race. Next slide. So exercise for me has definitely been my best medicine. For 7 years, I've never altered the medicine that I've been on. I've been on low doses of medication, and I really think it's down to the exercise that I do. I was very fit to begin with, so when I was told, I think the parameters were there. It is slowly dividing, it's slowly getting nearer, I think. We know it's a progressive disorder, but I think with all the exercise, I've kept a lot of the symptoms at bay. I exercise every day with my rest day walking. I never rest. I probably should. I've been told I should. But for me, walking is my rest period. I get my kit on in the morning, jog, now slowly, every morning, apart from one morning, I don't do it. I don't always feel like it, but it's truly, it gives me like a mindset to get out. I sometimes can go out without my medication, not often, but more and more I'm relying on my medication to make me feel better so I can actually move. It's like the oil of the wheel. But when I'm out there, it's truly inspiring. Getting out in the country, because I live in the country, fresh air, etc. On top of that, I incorporate yoga, ballet, my Nordic walking in the week. My ballet, I did as a young child, and the muscle brain power is still there. You wouldn't know I had Parkinson's when I dance. It's brilliant for balance, core stability, strength, amplitude of movements. The music gives you inspiration. I absolutely love it. I also paint and I am involved in the drama group, as I said before. I want to educate the public about Parkinson's and living well with it. You've got to be your own advocate for this condition. There are two paths. You take that one or this one. I chose to take the path that I will fight it all the way. I'm determined to give back something to the community and have clearly done that with my Nordic walking, which I'll explain a little bit more of later. I've also been asked, and I've just come back from Spain, playing with the Pioneers all-women's Parkinson's walking football. They saw that I could obviously play games, and they asked me to go with the first team ever, full of just women, and we played against men only at the tournament, and we certainly didn't disgrace ourselves. It was truly amazing experience to do this, and you can do. I don't think anybody say you can't do it. I think you can do very well if you've got the mindset, determination, and of course support as well. Next slide. So in November 2023, I was involved in a Nordic walking research programme with a wonderful PD nurse called Sarah McCracken. We do a lot of presentations now as a result of getting involved together. She did the programme and I was a 52nd participant because I was very busy, I thought, and I didn't think I would like Nordic walking, but I absolutely loved it. She got me involved and said, if you don't get your instructor's award, the whole group will just die, you know, and she'll go back to work and then nobody will take it on. So with a lot of encouragement from the CEO, Catherine Hughes, and Sarah, within a month, I got funding and I did the British Nordic Walking Instructors Award, the first woman with Parkinson's to do the award. I have transformed my life. I now have rolled out 3 groups across Nottingham. I've got 70 people involved with Parkinson's. I've got able-bodied people doing it as well. I'm just about to start a 4th one in a place called Mansfield. So what we've done is truly amazing. And I get people coming back every single week. So something is right. And it's a forum for me. I facilitate the class. I give them hope. And what they give me back is truly humbling. So I think there's definitely a need for people to get involved. When you're involved, what you get back physically, socially, mentally is powerful. You need to get out. Once you get involved and people encourage you to do it, you will find that it's much easier and you can talk about anything you like. They don't always catastrophize. They talk about everything. And from the start of the session to the end of the session, there's clear evidence that they are in a different place, a lot of them. They truly love it and they get something back from it. Next slide.
I'm going to have to ask, we need to make sure we get a couple of other people talking, Chris. So just for time, we've probably got another minute.
Okay, I'll do as quick as I can. So we all know that Parkinson's for every individual is unique, but sorry, it's got something over the screen. We need to take control of how we manage to live with this progressive degenerative condition. We can live well with Parkinson's. I intend to stay as positive as I can, living as well as I am able with this degenerative condition. I have a purpose to give something back to the Parkinson's community while I am fit and healthy. You have to embrace Parkinson's. You have to accept, adapt, and have ambition. I've got one more slide. It's a 1-minute film. Please enjoy it. I'm Christine. I'm 61 years old and I live with Parkinson's. When I was 29, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, lymphoma. Then they said I wouldn't have children. I had 2 beautiful children. Then 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. But as soon as I was diagnosed, I thought, right, that's it. I am not giving up. You've got to do this yourself. You've got to live with it as best you can. Moving makes me feel like myself again. Once I'm out, I absolutely love it and I feel so much better for it. I really do think that movement is the best medicine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really, really inspiring. Next, we have Keith. And I'm just going to get a mute Erica's one. There we go. Off you go. Keith, you may be muted. We can't hear you. So do remember.
Okay,
there you go. I can hear you now, Keith. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, thanks. Well, just to endorse a lot of the points that's already been made. I'm chair of the Darlington group and I'm in 2 different choirs. So I've just come back from leading the Darlington version of the Big Sing, We Will Survive. So you've got a few slides, just all the different sports and activities that I do. Walking is the first one. Next slide, please. Next slide. Nordic walking, which I've just done a course in, provided by Darlington NHS. I use walking poles a lot, but I didn't know the difference in using poles ordinarily and using for Nordic walking purposes. But Nordic walking is really good because the metronomic effect of your arms moving prevents you from going into motion freeze. Next slide. So 2 years ago, this was World Parkinson's Day, BBC featured me singing and running. I discovered that I couldn't, if I was running with a group of guys, I could run as long as I was talking. When I was left on my own, I couldn't run. And I discovered that one of the guys said, well, you should try talking to yourself, Keith. So I didn't want to talk to myself, so I started singing. And from there, I got back into park running, and eventually it led me into joining 2 choirs. Next slide. So basically, I do park runs and 5Ks. This is the Middlesbrough 5K last year. I'm 74, by the way. Next slide. So, cycling is, I discovered that going downhill fast on a bike in particular gave me an adrenaline buzz that meant that I could ignore my symptoms for a while. And that led me into all sorts of other things where adrenaline, generating my own dopamine and adrenaline is a good substitute for taking drugs. Next slide. So this was last year. We did a tour of the Zuider Zee in Holland. This is a tulip field, and the year before we did the Hebridean Cycleway. And in May this year, I'm going to be doing the tour of Brittany on the bike. Next slide. This is a climbing wall locally that I use, and I use it partly for coordination, partly for adrenaline, but also it eases the strain on my back because you're stretching your back out, and I do have a problem with a nip nerve in my spine. And obviously, the more you stoop with Parkinson's, the worse your backache gets. And so using a climbing wall really helps. Next slide. Next slide, please. So I have a very, very low level climbing wall in my garage, which I put up myself. Just some wooden slats for the feet and a few handholds. And again, just 5 minutes every couple of days just really stretches your back out. It's really good for you. Next slide. In terms of virtual reality, because adrenaline helps so much, I discovered that using virtual reality for a roller coaster ride was helpful. From there, I learned all sorts of other stuff like Tai Chi and boxing, and that's been really helpful as well. Next slide. Right, so it's just my, I'll ask for some tips. Exercise is essential, and there is a study in America which says Yale University, which they've got newly diagnosed people doing vigorous exercise and getting their brain scanned on a regular basis, and actually the disease isn't developing because of the vigorous exercise. Third tip: try many different types of exercise. Find the ones that you enjoy. There was a lady who reported that she does 3 types of exercise a day. She goes on a treadmill for half an hour. She does something else for half an hour. And she goes on the virtual reality table tennis for half an hour. It was only when she talked about the table tennis she started to smile. It was the only one that she really enjoyed. Now, I use an exercise bike to get trained up for these big bike rides. And on an exercise bike, it can be quite boring. But if you've got a virtual reality headset on, you last a lot longer. You can cycle for a good hour or longer. Headset on. Don't be embarrassed to exercise. Park runs are brilliant, and plenty of people. There's lots of people in Darlington for sure walk the park run. A lot of mums and new babies and things, and somebody's got to be last. So it doesn't matter. I've stopped counting how many people are in front of me now. I'm just trying to keep about 100 behind me. But there'll come a day when I'm going to be last, but it doesn't matter. And so thanks very much. I think they're my top tips. Thanks very much. I think that's the last slide for me.
Thank you so much, Keith. It's wonderful to see, especially the climbing up that wall and the fact you've adapted that at home. That's brilliant. So we've got Patrick next. Patrick, don't forget to take yourself off mute. And Keith, I put you back onto mute. Thank you so much, Keith. Oh, Patrick, you're on mute, so you just need to take yourself off mute. I can't do that for you. So the bottom left-hand corner.
Better now?
That's perfect.
Hi, my name is Patrick Crossan. I'm from Northern Ireland. I am nearly 62. I was diagnosed when I was 50. Next slide, please. I do quite a lot of activities. Golf and table tennis, I find, are the ones that help me socially, because you need a group to do them. So I play a lot of golf. It's a walk half spoiled. And also the table tennis is great. The amount of friends we meet there, and you can see in our little group, is fantastic. And it's not only the competition, it's the camaraderie. Sometimes with Parkinson's, people get isolated. When they get isolated, they don't want to do anything. So this is it. I had the pleasure of competing for Ireland in the Belfry in the Parkinson's golf competition, and it was really good fun. I met a lot of people who were there. Next one, please. But my true passion for staying active is track and field athletics. I compete for Ireland in the Masters competitions, and I have done for a number of years. I actually have done it since I was diagnosed. And yes, my performances have a little bit deteriorated, but I'm a firm believer that the reason why I have had little or no increase in my medication for 12 years is because I compete and train at a very high level with high intensity. I think the endorphins help me overcome the lack of dopamine. I find it quite good because I'm competing against people who are able-bodied, and I get treated just as a normal person. I'm not treated with a person with Parkinson's. Next slide, please. I want to actually show you, if you could see me racing the last time I competed for Ireland in the European Championships. If you hit the slide, it's about 20 seconds. It's me with the pink shoes on.
Spain is first, Ireland second, Finland third, Belgium in fourth. I think we're going to take the challenges on Ireland there with a great win by Ireland.
I'm lucky that I'm able to do that. But for me, my message to everybody with Parkinson's is being active is not negotiable. It might have been something that we thought was nicer whenever we were younger. But with Parkinson's, it has been proved that activity is going to bring us bigger benefits than even medication. I do the sport not to the way I do is I don't run to add life to my days. Sorry, days to my life. I run the add life to my days. And if you do activity and take control of your own Parkinson's condition, then you can add life to every one of your days. It's up to us to take control. We can't ask anybody else to. We have to use activities or exercise as a way of battling this disease. And if we slow it up for one day, then the next thing you know, we've slowed it up for 2 days, we've slowed it up for a week. So it's now time, no matter how little you think it is, to get some sort of active, get something you want to do, but more importantly, get something that'll get you out of bed every day. That's me next.
Thank you.
Start it again.
Thank you so much, Patrick. That was really brilliant. And I'd definitely be behind you on that athletics track, trying to keep up. Brilliant work. We were going to now go into 3 different breakout rooms, and the professionals were going to talk to individual groups. However, due to our technical officer having some difficulties, we're just going to have one room, and I'm going to present on exercise, and then somebody else in the group will be doing taking you through some gentle exercise. So give me one moment whilst I just share my screen and get the presentation up, and then I'll be with you. So one moment. Okay. Now, can I just have Chris? I can see you there. Can you see the screen? Can I just have a thumbs up if you can? Yeah, fantastic. Just wanted to make sure that people can hear me and that you can see the screen. Brilliant. My name's Anna, and I am one of the co-founders of a company called Neuro Heroes. And what I wanted to talk to my breakout room about was exercise for Parkinson's, and how we here at Neuro Heroes approach it. But I'm really, as it's just me, and I want to try and represent the other professionals in the group. So at the end, we'll have a question and answer session as well. Hopefully that works. So what's my journey to Parkinson's? So I'm a neurophysiotherapist, and during lockdown, when people had difficulty to have access to specialist physio and exercise, Neuro Heroes was developed. And Neuro Heroes is an online exercise gym for people with Parkinson's. Okay, and again, I can answer more questions about what we're about at the end. The main thing I want to talk to you all about here is the exercise for Parkinson's. I think somebody else is controlling my slides, so there we go. Okay, I thought I was Phil. So exercise and Parkinson's. Parkinson's has 40+ symptoms, okay, and we know that medication alone can't help these. I'm going to make sure that Erica's on mute there. There we go. So we know that medication alone can't help those. We know it's the main intervention at the moment, but we know it doesn't alter the disease process and it doesn't change that progression. What we do know is that exercise is important whether you have Parkinson's or not, and we know that it can slow down secondary complications, maybe due to inactivity, its stiffness, and can slow down that cycle of degeneration. We know that exercise can have benefits for motor and non-motor, and actually it's the non-motor symptoms that people are really surprised by and can have a real impact on their everyday life. And there's emerging evidence to show that exercise can slow down the progression of Parkinson's. Next slide. So the motor symptoms, people generally come to a physio and they say, oh, I want to improve my balance or my walking. I want to get stronger. I want to feel fitter. And yes, exercise can absolutely improve your walking, your balance, flexibility, strength, coordination. But actually, what's really powerful is its improvements in those non-motor symptoms, those symptoms that can actually really affect quality of life, like sleep, attention, mood, fatigue, feeling a sense of control, because we know all of those motor symptoms can really have an effect. Sorry, all of those non-motor symptoms can really have effect on the motor symptoms. And sometimes people tend to come to me and say, oh, but I'm doing this exercise, and why am I doing this exercise? And I think there's the key point. We need to make sure we have the why. And the why is what you want to be doing in life. What are your goals? How do you want to be living your life? What brings an increased quality of life to you? Because that's the reason that you're exercising day in, day out, so you can maintain that independence, so you can do the things that bring you joy. And I think it's really important to keep coming back to what brings you joy, to make sure on those days where it may be rainy, where you may have lost motivation to do the exercise, that brings you back to that. Next slide, please. So what are the exercise guidelines? Now, we had some questions came in before today about what should we be doing. So there's lots of guidelines, or there's lots of information in the guidelines. This is that you should be doing 150 minutes of exercise a week, and that's at the very least. So what does that look like? So that's 30 minutes of exercise 3 times a week of high intensity kind of work, or vigorous exercise, and I'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But we're wanting big movements, rhythmical movements, whole body movements. Then resistance training. So that's 2 to 3 times a week, and you're looking at doing kind of 10 to 15 reps of an exercise, again, at least for 30 minutes a session. Oh, suddenly there's quite a lot of information already being thrown at somebody. You've then got flexibility exercises, and you need to do that daily. And then also the guidelines talk about doing balance, agility, multitasking work, which is 2 to 3 times a week. So I personally find in my own practice that this is a lot of information for people to take in. It's very overwhelming. Where on earth do you start when you've been presented with this? And hopefully today we'll be able to advise you on that. So next slide, please. Why are we talking about intensity? So there's research out there that's saying that if we can work at high intensities, if we can get out of breath, okay, so just think about getting out of breath, getting that heart rate up, and whether you do that in a seated chair work, or you're doing that up and standing, or if you're like Patrick running around a track, like Chris doing her Nordic walking, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, trying to get that heart rate up, because there's evidence to show that there are these neurotrophic factors, these proteins within our brain that help to protect our dopamine. So this is really exciting, and I think the Parkinson's community have really taken this on board and are taking this on board, because it's about then being able to take control back. Okay, next slide, please. And then the questions we often get is, well, what does high intensity look like? Now, of course, you could wear a heart rate monitor, but I have found that many people, although some people like that, you know, it's not the most common thing to do. We don't go around with special watches on or heart rate monitors. But if you do, if you're a numbers person and you want to work out what your heart rate you need to be working at is, then you would do 220 minus your age and work out what kind of 70 to 80% of that is. However, I think there's a better way of you reflecting on whether you're doing that high intensity exercise. And if we go to the next slide, and that's you reflecting on what it feels like. Okay, and so you'd use a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is your kind of max activity levels, and you want to be somewhere around that kind of 7, 8, somewhat difficult. Okay, so you are short of breath. You can't speak a long sentence. You can't talk about world politics or talk about what you want for dinner, but you're able to speak. Okay, and that's what we're talking about with that more high intensity exercise. I will come on to other types of exercise. It's not all about high intensity, but this is just what we're concentrating on now. Also, how will you know if you're working at that higher, vigorous, intense way? Well, your heart rate's higher. You might notice your breath is getting heavier. You might feel more puffed out, more flushed, warmer, maybe a little bit sweaty. And really, for me, I think these are really good indicators for you to think about, as opposed to looking at numbers. What does it feel like in your body? Because everybody's different, and everybody's going to be different in different activities. Next slide. So how could you potentially increase activity? Or how can you start to kind of engage in more activity? So I really find that exercise to music, whether I'm working with somebody one-to-one or in a group, exercises to music is really important. The rhythm helps with not even just cueing in music, but also motivation. Okay, working in a group, motivation is definitely higher around others. If you can't have access to a group, or you don't want to go into online groups, then just exercising with a friend, having that accountability of going and being part of something with someone. As we said, you could use a heart rate monitor or reflecting on what it feels like for you. If you're needing to increase intensity, then maybe trying to do 2 things at once. So moving your arms and your legs at the same time, or adding in a cognitive task. Okay. If you are a gym goer, and we know that there's some great gyms that are offering free memberships for people with Parkinson's, think about the kind of workouts that you're choosing. Could you choose a higher intensity cycling class or a boxing class a few days a week? Then maybe could you do a lower intensity, maybe a Pilates, a yoga, a flexibility class, a Tai Chi, another part of the week. So it's thinking about what you have available to you and trying to make sure you're adding in some higher intensity stuff as well. Choose something you love, and that pushes you harder. We've seen from Patrick, Keith, and Chris that they're doing something they enjoy. They do something that they love. They're seeing these amazing positive improvements because they're pushing themselves. Okay, so doing something that brings you joy. I can't reiterate how important that is. You can obviously go to coaches, trainers, physios. The great thing in the Parkinson's community is there's lots of stuff out there, whether that's Beats for Parkinson's, Live Well, Reach Your Peak. There's lots and lots of, and I'm sorry, it's not an exhaustive list here. There's lots of people out there that are doing online and live classes. So trying to get into the community that works for you. And of course, you could also try and get some advice from a Parkinson's physio, whether that be through local support groups, local clubs, or through NHS or private means. So next slide. So what happens, a question that often comes is, well, what happens if I need to make exercise a little bit easier? So we know that you need to be exercising in some way or doing some kind of activity every day. To some extent, but there are going to be times where it needs to be easier. I don't know, you're recovering from a cold, you're recovering from some surgery, you've been away on holiday and just, you've had a wonderful holiday, but we do sometimes come back from holidays feeling like we're less fit. So it's okay to slow down. Okay, you can pick it back up again, but it's okay to slow down. Maybe you need to start by doing a lower level class or a seated class and then build yourself back up. It may be that you try and reduce the number of repetitions. So there's this magic number of 15 repetitions and 3 sets. Throw that out the window. If you can only manage 5 or 8 reps, that's absolutely fine. You're doing something, you're moving, you're being active. Take longer rest breaks. To give yourself a little bit more chance to recover. Don't use any resistance. Put those weights aside. You can bring those weights back. That's okay. You could start with maybe some exercise snacks. So where you may have exercised for or were active for 20, 30 minutes previously, maybe you'll only do 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you can build yourself up. Do it little and often throughout the week. And if you are coming back from an injury or wanting to come back into exercise, do something that you're familiar with, okay? And if you're doing something you're familiar with, it can be a lot more motivating. So next slide, please. What about if you want to make it a bit more difficult, okay? Because obviously we want to keep thriving and striving, to thrive and to being at the top of your game. And I often say to clients that come to me, as soon as you're diagnosed, you're now an elite athlete, whether you're 35 or 85, whatever your age, I need you exercising like an athlete. And that is exercising a little bit each day. So how can you make things more difficult? Well, to increase the intensity, you can speed up or have more resistance. You can do bigger, more exaggerated movements, making sure you're getting your hands involved, your face is involved, okay? Really big movements. You can take shorter rest breaks, okay? So that you're pushing yourself a bit more. I always find that increasing the music volume can help, okay? Build up and do something you haven't done before. Increase the complexity by doing 2 things or more at once, okay? So these are lots of ideas of how you can make things harder and more difficult. Next slide. Okay, too much information, right? And this is what I generally say to somebody that's newly diagnosed or wanting to get back into exercise. You've just had a physio talking to you for 10 minutes now about what you need to be doing. You need to be doing this type of exercise and you need to be working at this intensity. And sometimes it's just too much information and we need to strip it back. Next slide, please. And obviously I was doing this in a separate breakout room of people that wanted to know a bit more about NeuroHeroes. But whether it's you coming to NeuroHeroes or coming to Live Well or coming to whatever classes or professionals that you're going to, okay, we would hope that those professionals are doing the thinking for you. Okay, so they're thinking about those guidelines that are out there and designing whatever you're doing to make sure you're meeting those to some extent. So what do we do at NeuroHeroes? Well, we have small classes which are run by neurophysios. So we know what the research shares, we know the evidence underpinning that. We design our classes so that you are exercising and meeting those guidelines, but you don't really know you're doing it, okay? We have 4 different levels and 26 classes a week with lots of variety from high intensity to the more meditative. And I can't stress enough how important the yoga is. Okay, we know that stress and not working on breathing and mindfulness can have big impacts on physical symptoms. So we really, really need to make sure we're giving people the option to be able to do this type of exercise as well as that high intensity. Variety is really key. We use music, we use camaraderie and community, but we also use play. And this is like, you know, what Patrick, Keith, and Chris were talking about is things that really bring them joy. Okay, that's their play. Okay, and that's their what they do to keep them entertained and joyful in life. And we really need to. I'd like you to think about what is play to you. Now, the definition of play is a state of mind that one has when they're absorbed in an activity that brings them enjoyment, a suspension of a sense of time. So you're not looking at your watch. It's self-motivated, so you're wanting to go and do it time and time, again and again and again. And that's what any health professional, any physiotherapy, any personal trainer really wants for their clients. They want them to feel absorbed. We want you to enjoy it. We want you not to be looking at your clock thinking, when is this going to end? We want you to be self-motivated, and we want you to be doing it again and again and again. And so that's where the joy and the play comes in. So again, thinking about what you like, and then making sure you can adapt that to increase the intensity where needed or reduce it where needed. Next slide. We'll do the next slide. I don't want to, this isn't a sales pitch for me. Thank you. Another thing I wanted to bring to the table is quite often someone will come to me and say, I do exercise, I go for a walk. Absolutely great, okay? And what I want to bring to the table is it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So whether it's walking, whether it's running, whether it's cycling, classes, yoga, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And in Parkinson's, you need to think of, this is a little recipe that I want you to think about. So first of all, I want you to think about moving purposefully, okay? So I want you to think about big, effortful movements, okay? I want you to think about doing it as much as you can, so every day doing something. I want you to think about creating power. So we know in Parkinson's things can get smaller, and we need to think big, okay? We need to think about changing the amplitude of our movements from going slightly slower to really, really exploding out. We need to think about complexity. So again, doing two things at once. But as I said at the beginning, it's really important with all this, you link it to what you want, your goals. What is it that makes you tick and is going to keep you coming back for more, okay? Because it's that fun and that joy that's going to empower you to make sure that you're self-managing your condition or your Parkinson's. Next slide. And again, it's not what you do. It's not, you don't have to do Neuro Heroes. You don't just have to do Nordic walking. There's so many things out there for people, okay? So whether that be boxing, whether that be LSVT big, dancing, Tai Chi, you know, there's lots and lots of different things that people can get involved in. And I really, really would just say yes. Say yes and give something a go, because you never know whether that's going to be right for you. And I think variety is the spice of life. You will get bored if you just do the same thing day in, day out. So try and just spice it up by trying some different activities. And there's lots out there now online and as well as face to face. So just do a good little Google search. Next slide. If anybody wants to ask how to get involved with Neuro Heroes, they can. Again, I will go to the next slide, because this was about exercise in general. Well done. But I will tell you about the Community Exercise Fund, because this is in collaboration with Parkinson's UK. So if you know anybody where finance is a barrier to them getting involved in exercise, then we have a fund available to people where they can get 6 free online classes. You get 8 free yoga classes, and then you get discounted classes going forward. So again, if anybody has any questions, they can come to me separately. Next slide. Thank you, Phil.
Hello, Patrick. Good morning. Everybody can say hi to Patrick. It's his first session today. Welcome to Neuro Heroes.
Well done for being here. You've shown up. Follow along with me. Keep walking. Push them away.
Come on, heroes. We're in this together. Look at the energy in the room. That's it. Keep it up.
2, 1, stop. Champions, a lot of you. Well done. You've worked really, really hard. We're going to come forwards now. We've got a few minutes to all have a chat.
Thank you so much. You do feel a sense of community. We have fun, we have a laugh.
Having expert neurophysios on a weekly basis is a gem.
It's challenging and it's completely changed my life with Parkinson's.
Thank you, Phil. So I think the key message is there is do what you love. Be as active as you can, a little bit every day, push it as hard as you can. And I believe I haven't been able to look at the conversations that are happening behind the scenes, but have you got somebody now that's going to do some exercise for the group? So initially we were going to separate into different breakout rooms.
Parkinson's beats are here.
Unfortunately, I think Philip is saying in the group chat that we have to move over to Erica, which I think might be some other session. Phil, can you confirm that, please? I'm waiting to see what he has in the group.
Yep.
Can you see us?
One moment.
She says as soon as Anna has run through her slides, we have to move over to the next thing that's happening for Parkinson's UK. Oh no, maybe not. Oh, now we've got Eric. Okay, so this is the live class, I think.
Great. So we're going to join in as much as possible.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're a group of dancers in the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire. The dancers are here. And we have a regular dance session on a Wednesday morning called Dance and Connect. And we choose themes and we build choreography to each piece of music based on the theme. And so today the short dances we're going to lead are from our theme of licorice all sorts. And guess what? There's all sorts of moves. And before we begin, can we say a big hello to Kate and her husband who are in France? Your mum and sister and brother-in-law are here? Yeah. So, everybody just take a deep breath and enjoy. And just say hello to the people sitting next to you. And we're going to start. You ready? Can you hear us? So go at your own pace. Can you hear the music? Rub your hands together. Take your arm all the way around to your shoulder. Swap hands and stroke down your arm. Come all the way round. And rub again. Take it all the way round to your shoulder. Kiss your hand and extend. Let's rub our faces. Rub your tummy like you've had something good to eat. And stroke the back of your head. Gets rid of any anxiety you might feel. And rub your knees. And we're going to extend both hands. Imagine you pushing the sea away and bring it back. Push it forwards and bring it back. 2 more. Push those waves and then bring them back. Imagine you're sitting on a beach and you're going to lift your hand up to the sun and bring the sun down into your tummy. And lift it up and bring it down. Let's do that again. Lift it up and bring it down. One more time. And then you're going to float your hands pushing the sand away and then pat those sand castles. Let's sweep the sand away and pat those castles. And we're making an up and down motion of And then just push those wings. And pull the C back. Brilliant. Everybody okay? Yeah? We're going on to a slightly faster pace. Okay, so we're going to start off by imagining we're cleaning a window, letting the sun in. Are you ready? Here we go. So, clean that window. Really polish it. Now, take your cloth to the side and bring it out. And flick it. To the other side and ring. Back to the other side, flicking. Squeeze your cloth in front. One up and one down. And you're going to lean forward and polish your piano with a little bounce. Get your hands ready for playing the piano. So thumbs up and fingers. Hold your hand. Play the piano. And all around. Play your neighbour's piano. And you're going to tap one foot in and out and play the piano with your opposite hand. And change. Hand jobs. Play the piano. Circle all around. And flat. Roll your shoulders in and out. And tap your foot. And the other side. And play the music. Play the piano all around. And your neighbour's piano. And clean that window. And bring the cloth out. And flick it. And ring. And play the piano. It's a very small finale, little quiet finale. Brilliant, well done. Everybody okay? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do a little cool down now. So we're just going to put our hands on our lap and we're going to feel for any tension that we might have. And when we breathe in and out, we're going to allow that tension to dissipate. Okay, so we'll put some music on. So here we go, just gently bring your hands forward and push down. This time you're going to take a deep breath in, hold, push out that tension going down. Deep breath in, come forwards and push it on. 2 more, breathe in, come forwards, push out that tension. Last one, breathe in, hold as it comes forward, push it down. Okay, this time we're going to take our hands to the side. We're just going to come up as far as is comfortable. Bring your hands down, just give them a little push, just gently. Okay, we're just going to allow our shoulders just to relax. Nice, gentle. Okay, take your arms out to the side, come up to temple, come down. Push them up and out. This time we're going to breathe in, hold, and as it comes down you're going to dive forwards and pull off a sweater. Big stretch, make sure you're sitting comfortably. Take your arms out to the side, we're going to bring a little heart to our chest. I give thanks, roll your hands, for the dance with you. We'll do that again. I give thanks for the dance with you. And it's hello everybody. There we go. We're still here.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Phil, I wonder if you take it off the screen if you can, and so that it goes back to the grid view.
That's it.
There you go. Oh.
Well done.
So what we were going to do now is we've got a little bit of time. I know we're running slightly over, but whether anybody had any specific questions, we can go to back to the grid view, and if people want to ask questions, then they can either put their hands up, take themselves off mute. They could write it in the chat box, and if there aren't any questions, then we could think about maybe Banu, if any of the professionals have got the sheet of paper with what was sent through previously. So Phil, we can't see if people's hands are up because of this Q&A screen. So could you take that back onto the grid view for us? Perfect, thank you. If anybody does have any questions,
sorry to interrupt you, Anna. I do have the set of questions that were sent in. Do you want to go from that, or should we just let people ask questions? You can see the hands.
Well, is that a hand from Sue there? Sue Edge, was that a hand? You're off mute as well. No, let's go with the questions that people have asked, and yeah.
Shall I give you a first? Oh. Shall I give you a first question?
Wake up, dipstick. Low battery.
Wake up, dipstick. Low battery. I think that was Malcolm.
So one question here that's for the professionals panel. Somebody said they're always on the lookout for different sporting activities to try as part of an exercise regime. How does one assess these for general suitability, bearing in mind that no two people have the same symptoms? And how would one assess the potential demand for a new activity?
Well, Banu, are you there as well?
No, Banu has said she's had to go, I'm afraid.
He's had to go. Okay, no problems. Well, I think the demand of the activities depends on your level of independence and your level of functioning. So, you know, and that's going to be personal to everyone. I mean, from a sporting and activity perspective, you know, if you're really, let's just take rugby. If you were really into rugby, okay, maybe that you can't get back into rugby, but there's walking rugby, or there's walking football, there's walking cricket, walking netball. So there are lots of sports out there which have now got walking versions of it. There's a charity or a community interest group called Sport Parkinson's, and they have many different events throughout the year, primarily golf, but also they've got a triathlon in June, and you can try different things there. So one thing is, I would say, give it a go. If mobility is an issue and you're worried about falling over, then in terms of suitability of it, does the option you've got enable you to have a handhold or a light touch or somebody to be with you so that you can still work as hard as you can, give it a good go, but be safe. So I would say just to think about the safety aspect, but not let that hold you back.
Another question. Are there any hands?
Sorry, Lydia. I've finally managed to get set. I do apologise, everyone. I'd just like to say thank you to Anna, Lydia, and all the people that have supported it. I can only apologise. I've had some major technical issues on my side, so finally, at the worst possible timing, probably managed to get my sound finally. But Anna and Lydia and the team have done a fantastic job. So thank you so much for stepping in and kind of being thrown in at the deep end, really, because I know it's not easy to have to manage these things when it's sort of, you know, all thrown at you. I am conscious, obviously, that we have run over quite a way, so we probably aren't going to be able to capture everything in the chat so far. So I think if we just run through a couple of the, as we mentioned, kind of a couple of the other questions that came in for us, we had put these together as kind of key themes. I think Joe and Sharon, if you're still on the call, one of the kind of big topics that came in was about how to support a loved one to be active or to be more active with Parkinson's. So I think that would be quite an interesting one to capture if that's possible.
Yeah, Sharon's gone home because she's expecting visitors. But my answer to that question really was, where possible, go to classes with your partner, at least until they feel comfortable going on their own, because it can be a bit daunting walking into a room full of strangers.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important thing to factor in, and yeah, I think that's a really good way to look at things. Just looking in the chat as well, I think Shireen has asked about with balance being a challenge as well. I guess from our sort of professionals and our lived experience panel, what would work for yourselves in terms of kind of balance and how the activities that kind of support you with that?
I would tend to, if I'm going to do balance work, is if it's hard, start off with something to support me, so I get the confidence to do that with a little bit of support, and then just either move further away from the support on a lighter touch, and then you get confident to do it yourself. But even if you end up only having to do it with support, it's better than not doing it at all.
Yeah. As a physio, in terms of that question, the corners of rooms are really good places. So setting up your environment. So when you're practicing your exercises, as Patrick says, you've got like the support there. But I think something that we really need to push forward is don't be afraid of the wobble. Embrace the wobble, because we're only going to get better with our balance if you push yourself in a safe way to the edge. So if you never ever wobble, your balance is never going to get better. So a little bit of wobble is okay, but you set up your environment for success. So you have a chair behind you, you're in the corner of a room, you're in the L of a kitchen, okay, so that you've got hand support there, but don't be afraid of the wobble, because if you don't wobble, you're not, just like if you don't do strength work, you're not going to get stronger. So applaud the wobble.
No, I think that's a great way to factor in, Anna. As I said, I'm just conscious of time, so I know we've had a lot of questions come through through the registration forms and through the chat. So unfortunately, we're probably not going to have time to capture all of those today, but we can certainly come back to everyone to talk about that in more detail, because obviously it's always really important to look at the benefits of being active. Just to close today, so again, a huge thank you to all the speakers that have been involved, and obviously it didn't quite go to plan, with obviously involving all the breakout rooms with Parkinson's Beats, with Erica, with Yana, and with Lydia and Anna and Banu. So unfortunately we didn't quite get the chance to speak to everybody, but just as a kind of general overview of the benefits of being active, so we always talk about the fact that it can build better muscle and bone strength, it can support you with better flexibility and mobility. There's also the benefits of improving on your balance and reducing the risk of falls, especially with things like your core strength. There's also benefits to do with improving your sleep in the longer term and having better energy levels if it's practiced on a regular basis. And there's also the impact of things like lower blood pressure and reducing stress levels as well. And of course, there's a lot of information regarding the well-being aspects as well. So there's improved confidence and self-esteem if you do activities from a social point of view. So if you do things like walking football, there's improved cognitive ability, so it can help your brain work more efficiently, and it can be great for reducing anxiety, and being outdoors can be a great way to do that, especially when the weather's nice like it is now in the springtime. So that's just a very quick run through of a few of the things that obviously we would have been able to share with you today. Just a few little points that we will share with you. So obviously these will be in the slides that will go out to everyone after today's session, but Parkinson's UK works with the Parkinson's community. So we are developing more resources, and through our website you can access more of our physical activity programs and resources. So these will be available in the slide deck. And just to do a bit of a signpost as well, so we've heard from Lydia briefly and from a few other of our providers. So Anna from NeuroHeroes has already been on the virtual village hall today, but the Royal Voluntary Service are working with us today to deliver a series of sessions. So there will be a QR code and a link, but just search for the virtual village hall online and you'll be able to find the sessions that are happening live today. So Yana,
if I could interrupt you, Philip, I've just put that into the chat because
oh, thank
the
you.
QR code didn't work for me earlier. So because
sorry.
I'm on at 4 and Yanna's on at 4:30, and I've put the YouTube playlist in, and you can catch up on Anna from there. So people can see that in the chat now. You can grab it straight away.
Thank you, Lydia. Yeah, so that's been a great day of sessions already. So if you have time this afternoon, please do join. So Lydia will be, as Lydia mentioned, at 4 o'clock, and then Yana from 4:30. And then just to quickly run through, so the slide deck will have more information about our guest speakers today. So unfortunately, we weren't able to hear from Banu, Lydia, or to see Parkinson's Beats or Yana, but there's links in the slide deck which go through their backgrounds and give a bit more information. Just a quick this is a huge thank you from me because obviously I've had some significant technical difficulties today. So again, Anna, Lydia, Banu, Keith, Chris, Patrick, Joe, Sharon, and everybody that's been involved. So I've probably missed a few people there, but thank you so much to everybody that's kind of taken the time to join us today. Hopefully this has been, a good experience for people to understand more about the benefits of being active with Parkinson's. And yeah, just thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all the speakers and the guests for facilitating on my behalf. It's been, absolute lifesaver for me. So hope everybody's enjoyed the experience, and yeah, thank you so much. I will leave everyone to enjoy the sunshine now, and with that we can bring the session to a close.